Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Story Time with Mystic Rose. This is a Christmas story entitled The Red Train. From an aerial view, the sight of a beautiful red train chugging along down the railway track takes my breath away. One moment I am watching a funnel-shaped smokestack sending puffs up towards the white cotton clouds, and the next I hear the sound of a whistle blowing. The melodious voice of a conductor says, "Tickets, please." Out of my pocket, I produce an admission ticket that is long overdue. With one spiffy white glove, he presses the ticket between his thumb and pointer finger. Then he holds it up to his gold monocle and smiles. "All aboard, then." He goes over to important passengers that I cannot see. He leaves me sitting there wondering about our destination. How I got so lucky as to enter this magical snow train, I do not know. But the scent of this leathery Curlian man still clings to my thoughts like a revenant moment from a long forgotten past. To the North Pole, of course. The farmlands and the bridges and the countryside whoosh by in a dash, then vanish before my eyes at 126 miles per hour. My mind is traveling at the speed of Donner and Blitzen. It travels and sifts me like an hourglass. I find myself inside a cinnamon-scented wagon, inoculated with sound by fine bone china cups, softly rattling on their saucers. A peppery scent of hot chocolate perfumes the air and lands on my plate, sweetly. Ushered forth, I'm absorbed in Christmas, and as the clock pedals backwards, I fall into a fantasy, fastened by a shred of reality. I once existed, and still exist, this moment, just like Santa's mistletoe kiss on a wintry day. His rippling laughter returns, and my heart is popcorn. Intuition picks up the familiar echoes through the halls of my memory, and I say to myself, I think I'm going home. To North Pole, of course. Outside the window, the glimpse of a twinkling muse, sprinkling little bits of imagination into my soul, leaves me breathless, espying a reindeer prancing in the deep, deep woods. I slant my eyes just so and try to take a better look before I get to sing the first refrain of Jingle Bells. He's gone, hidden away behind the white spruce, filled with gold and silver pixie dust. The train keeps moving on securely, held fast by a set of moving rails that seem to go on forever. Planting a cold kiss on the glass, my voice turns to a whisper. I feel miles away from home. Then as the sun begins to rise to the north, the dawning rays infuse me with warmth. I feel a caress on my cheek, like a soft, fluttering butterfly rousing me from a dreamless sleep. No sun kinks on the rails this morning, just the invisible passengers, the conductor, and a Pullman porter who was fast asleep in his folding seat. My spirit roams free on this blessed day, in this peaceful wagon that contains a feel of religiosity to it. I sense the conductor long before his shiny black shoes kiss the ground. "Missy, how would you like a cup of warm milk?" But all I see when I look in his dusky hands is a bowl of hot steaming soup with a couple of dumplings dancing and bobbing, wearing a large fedora hat. We exchange puzzled looks as I draw the bowl to my hungry mouth. The liquid pours golden into my parched throat. I haven't got an inkling as to how I got here, but suddenly I smile, feeling young and adventurous as a newborn fawn. Pinstripe boots and a lollipop satchel. Gone are the old galoshes I wore yesterday when I first boarded the train. Instead, my feet are decked into 2-inch high pinstripe red and white boots. In my hands, I'm holding a lollipop satchel with a big red shiny button. I believe that purse once belonged to you, says the conductor by way of encouragement. Open it. You never know what you will find inside. An old crumpled letter slides out and I hold it in my hands. It appears to be written in Slovenian and it's signed Bozicek. One of Santa's many talents is to write in different languages. To my surprise, I can actually decipher the sweetly encoded message written in ancient calligraphy. It reads, I love you, with big, flourish, bold letters. Digging deeper inside the satchel, I find arm-length pieces of gold silk threads, and while the lasting moments of my memory return, I soak in the vision of 6 missing shiny buttons on a forlorn Buffy man who is intoxicated with Christmas. Between thousands of elves he stands, piping out orders while drinking hot cocoa from a one-eyed Santa mug. I got my eye on you, he says to Winklestar, the smallest of the elves. She's dressed in a pink tutu and has diamond studs adorning her elfin ears. Naughty by nature, she's a spoiler, according to the senior elves, who are doing their very best to keep the North Pole tip-top shape. The train picks up speed and I lose myself once again inside a wrinkle in time. For now, I'm content to sit back and enjoy all the comforts of a seasonal ride. To where, I can't remember. Gone are the missing colors of yesterday, like the pomegranate lipstick I once wore and the ruby red cheeks of a man that once flew my heart all the way to the North Pole. Mother's heirloom bauble. Each Christmas at home, Mother did her best to make sure we had all the bare necessities of life. A seamstress by trade, she sewed all day, and when dusk fell, after a modest dinner, we would retire to the sewing room. There she would teach me how to sew, and often remark, all this experience will come in handy someday, missy. When evening drew near, like a soft curtain over the winter hills of our gentle countryside, she would tilt her head just so and sing as she sewed. The hum of the singer machine and the lilt of her voice put me to sleep. We didn't have much money at Christmas, so we made ornaments and decorated the tree. Little baubles stuffed with downy feathers, covered in fine cotton and embroidered with Floriani thread, giving them an old-fashioned charm. We collected quite a few on our silver tinsel tree, but the most exquisite one was received one cold winter night on Christmas Eve. We heard a knock on the door, and when Mother opened it, we found a small box sitting on our front porch. Attached was a card, Love, Santa. Inside the box lay the most beautiful glass bauble I had ever seen. From that year on, we gave it center stage on our tree. Twaining our thoughts, we both agreed that this was a gift that only Santa could have left behind. When my mother died, I was left alone with no family and friends. I took great comfort in continuing the Christmas tradition of hanging the ornaments, especially that special heirloom that had arrived at our doorstep so long ago. One Christmas, I accidentally dropped it. Flabbergasted, I watched it shatter in itty-tiny pieces, just like my broken heart. Inside it was a train ticket with no expiration date. Chugga chugga, choo choo. Chugga chugga choo choo, all aboard, says the conductor to invisible elves who arrived from a distant platform. Invisible at first, but As the velocity picks up, they slowly begin to reintegrate into the atmosphere. First the elfin shoes, then the buckling knees, then shiny, dusted faces full of grins and mischief. I'm no longer alone on this voyage. A Darnesian elf offers me a silk pillow. Shudaleleb, good fortune to you and your family. I place my head on the silk pillow and feel myself getting closer to my destination. Santa isn't far away from me. He's just a breath away. A wisp spirit puts me in a spell, taking me deeper and deeper into my memories. I recall the brilliant sun, how it bounced off my diamond ring on Christmas morning. The two of us standing on a glacier astride a mountain surrounded by constantly moving ice that fisticuffs then smooths into a curtain of beautiful ice. We are surrounded by elves and magical beings from both our ancestral lineage. Father Time arrives and hands us a gold clock. Both handles of time are securely fastened onto the face of the clock. It appears to be made of mother of pearl, glazed with a lacquered finish. Ice lanterns hang in thin air, flickering steadily in the wind, but never quite dying. Valentine days, anniversaries, and birthdays fly by alongside a memorable evening in the thicket of night. Magic so thick that it holds captive next to the moon as it hitches a ride on Santa's sleigh ride. My heart feels like a vermilion balloon about to burst over the crystalline sky. The conductor's voice is an underwater dabble. Missy, I brought you a peppermint mocha. Enjoy. He places it on my lap, but all I see is her herbal tea doctored with a slice of lemon floating happily wearing teardrop earrings of citrine and quartz. Her name is Limonetta. She winks and speaks. He'll be coming home soon, don't you worry and fret. Then she joins the muted silence of the train while I sit and sip my tea and think of mother back home. Mulled and spiced memories return like the ornaments on our tree. The smell of brown sugar simmering on the stove and Santa's rich brown eyes. The way his laughter lines fan out over his ruddy cheeks, and the way his fluffy white mustache smells of hot cocoa and candy sprinkles. I get to enjoy all the flavors of Christmas in one single sip. Suddenly I hear bells from afar and long for that magical place where everything goes tinsel crazy on Christmas Eve, and nothing, no nothing, is ever found in one single place. The Eye of the Needle. The Pullman porter awakens with a deep yawn and then walks over holding a sewing basket in his right hand. He pulls out a large silver needle from a red plaid inner liner, then glances at me and then back at the needle again. Go ahead. Thread the needle, he says. Pass it through. But when I try, there's a super stretchy jelly-like substance filling the hole, making it both resilient and rebound. I try again, putting more force into it, and this time it gives. The gateway opens. It feels absorbent and icky to the touch. Suctioning the air around, it sees me through the eye of the needle and swallows me whole. I land on the other side of the portal with filaments of gold swirling and twirling, sashaying around me, creating a blizzard of gold with shreds of ribbony light. Constant sunshine coats my sewing room with effervescent sunlight. I am back at my sewing quarters, mending little red vests and white cotton shirts with crystal buttons shaped like tiny hearts. Ambidextrally, I sew and redefine snapshot memories of the first time I set foot in that old abandoned train station. The ticket master looked at me with questioning eyes. Missy, this is a one-way ticket. Are you sure you want to leave? Alone in the world with no one to call my own, I boarded the train that day with the hope of finding a new home. A soulmate, perhaps the one who had left that wonderful train ticket so long ago. When I met Santa and he took me through the gates of his palatial land, it's as if I knew from memory where I always belonged. You're my heart, he whispered to me, and I was home after a long sojourn. If I was to live my life over again, not one single day would I trade. We were a match made in heaven, and the good Lord knew we belonged together. I wouldn't have it any other way. Merry Christmas to all. Yours, Mrs. M. Santa Claus. Keep the magic alive.